Yo, what is up guys, it's Ozzy here, and today I'm just going to be doing an LD5 tier list. I thought it would be a fun idea. Yeah, as you can see here, we've got all the LD5s, all the way up to, you got the Assassin's Creed, the Indra, and the Devil Maidens in here, so we've got it up to date. Yeah, this is going to be not just for RTA, it's going to be for all content. So just keep that in mind for this video. It's not specifically for RTA. And before we get into this, I'm actually going to change up some of these ratings. Alright, so I've made these tiers here. So we've got the top one will be useful everywhere, so pretty much useful in pretty much all content. Maybe it's not good in one, but pretty much everything, we'll say except one, it can go in here. Most places, if it's good in, at least a couple areas of the game, maybe at least 2 or 3. Niche, but very good, so something that has a specific role, but it's very good at that role, and basically no other units can do what it does. Got niche and pretty usable, so it's niche and it's good, but there's maybe some other units that can do what it can do. We've got very niche, which means, it has a specific role, but it's just very rare that you're going to see it used. And then we got usable but inefficient, so you could use it, but there are other units that do its job slightly better or maybe are slightly more efficient. And then completely outclassed means that this unit has got no use at all. You should not be using it. You should be using anything else. Pretty much anything else. So, yeah, let's start off with this. We'll just start from the top here. We'll go with Han. Han, I'm feeling useful in most places here. So you could use this thing in Siege. It could be good on defense, because it does have the defense breaks. The potential of this thing proccing is huge. And obviously the number one place you would use this is RTA. I wouldn't say he's useful everywhere, which is stopping me from putting him up there. Not that great in dungeons. Arena offense, I don't really think so. Siege offense, maybe, but not really. But, this unit is very dominant in the areas that it's good, and it's good in a variety of areas. Alright, next up we've got a Chroma. Where would I put a Chroma? I'm thinking up here, because pretty much there's no unit that does the same as her. There's no unit that's just straight up immune to pretty much all debuffs, so that's very good. It's usable in defenses, arena, and siege, and it's somewhat usable in RTA, so I think it's deserving up here. It could be argued that it's down here, but I think just because of the fact that it does something that no other unit does, it deserves to be up here. Next is Trinity. Trinity is tough. I don't think it deserves to be in completely outclassed just because of the speed lead. I would say it's more usable but inefficient. You could use this instead of, say, Samath for your cleave teams. But it's probably slightly better to use Samath. This probably does a little bit more damage. So it is usable, but you'd be better off going Samath or maybe even any other speed lead or damage dealer. So not completely outclassed, but just in this tier down here. Next up is the Light Dragon. I'm gonna say that this thing is actually up. This is gonna be the first one that goes in useful everywhere. It's good. It's probably alright in defense. I haven't seen it a whole lot, but it could be very good on defense. It's obviously great in offense, as a cleave unit, in all offense. It's good in RTA, for cleave, and it's also got a cleanse as well, so you could use it like that. And obviously, the big thing is dungeons. This thing is a cheat code for wave clear in dungeons. So I would say this is the first unit that goes pretty much useful everywhere. Julian. I would say that he's in this tier as well, next to a Chroma. He isn't that great, I'd say, in dungeons, and on defense, he's probably good as well. This is actually tough. Actually, it might be good to put him up here. His recent buff really made him really great. So I'm going to put him next to Han. I wouldn't put him above Han, but he's usable almost everywhere. Almost everywhere. Probably not as much as the Light Dragon. He's not in this tier, just because I don't think he stands out at everything. He's just more useful in a lot of content, whereas this unit is a standout in a lot of content. Next is the Dark Dragon. I would put this in this middle tier here. It could be argued that it's up here, but I think there's a number of other units that are good at, like, anti-revive. He's definitely not in the lower tiers. He's probably firmly in the middle. I would say he's the best arena offense unit. He just really can't be used anywhere else. And he's not really in this tier because there are other units that are really good damage dealers as well. Next is Cadiz Nuts. This is tough. I used to really value this unit, but I think he's fallen off more and more. I'm gonna say that he fits in very niche. He's somewhat okay in RTA. You'd have to pick him in very specific scenarios though. I think the main thing that we see him for now is siege defense. He could be used as for branding in PvE, so he's there as well. Outside of that, it's not a great unit. I personally would be a little bit disappointed if I pulled this unit. Next up is Shan. I'm tempted to put Shan up in useful most places. It's very good in RTA. You could use it as a defense monster. Offense, not really. Dungeons, not really. You know, I'm starting to seem like it's probably in this tier here. I don't want to put it down here just because it's pretty much unmatched in RTA, and it has potential to be used other places as well. I think we just don't really see it. Eludia. I would say that this unit is over here. It's good for cleave and RTA. It's probably good for arena and siege offense as well. Defense would be a bit questionable because it's very frail. So I would say here, just because it has a niche role and it does it okay. Not as good as these two units, so I'm just going to leave it down here. Okay, next is Zeratu. So this is the first unit on this list that I actually have. I would put him in very niche. He's decent in defense. That's probably the one place he's good. And he's good in PC10. Probably until we get Abyss. I'm not sure if he'll still be usable because he's very good with Trikaru. So for now he's up here. He doesn't do a whole lot. It's hard to justify him putting him any higher than this. Next up, Dark Phoenix. I think this belongs here. I'm tempted to put it down here, but just defense break and branding is very good in its specific niche situation of dungeons. It's just that is such a specific scenario. It is really good at that one thing, which is probably going to push it above here. I don't know if I'm going to keep this ordered. It's somewhat ordered, so don't take everything as like complete 100% ordered, but it is somewhat ordered. I will put things, if I see something slightly better, I will move it up. Next is Artemil. I think Artemil's solid fits in this tier here. It has a very specific role that it's good at, you know, in RTA when you've got a bunch of AoE units and they're critting a lot, you bring him. He does good damage. He's good in defense as well. Also in offense, it's just that situation is kind of unique. You can't pick him all the time. And honestly, he can still lose. It's not really a guaranteed win. I would sort of put him above these two, though. Actually, no, I think Dark Dragon's a bit better. Fermion is next. I think this is another unit that just goes down here. It is good in Siege. It's pretty much a guaranteed win if you pick it right, and it's good in defense. So I think it's here, but I do think it is below these two units. Next up is Lima. With Lima, I think she deserves to be up here. This may be surprising, but if you consider the fact that, RTA is not the only game mode in this game, this thing is probably good in, as a defense monster, in Siege, not really in Arena. You could use it in offense, some sort of snipe comp, I'm sure she would benefit with that. And in RTA, she's very good as well. I would say she's in the lower end of this tier, but she definitely deserves to be up here because she's versatile in a lot of areas of the game. Next up is Laura. I'm tempted to put her here, but also... Okay, so she's obviously extremely good in RTA. But outside of that, I mean, she could be used in defense, but I would assume her AI is not very good. Because of that, I'm going to put her in this tier here, but I'm going to put her at the top. Just because she has a standout role in RTA, and she's probably okay in Arena, but her niche specific role, as you know, the turn 1, does a lot of damage, definitely deserves to be up here. Next up is Gianna. I think Gianna is also up here, maybe a bit better than Chroma. It used to be a lot higher, but because of its AI, it's not that good in defense. In RTA, it's kind of outclassed now by a lot of other strippers that just do more. She is still good, I think, in siege defense. The randomness of her, proccing, getting bombs and all that, I mean, that's almost... You can never really take that away from her. She's going to be really good regardless. But yeah, definitely not as good as she used to be, for sure. Next up is Nikki. I'm tempted to put this unit in useful most places. Just think about this. It's not really great in dungeons. I wouldn't use it there. I mean, you could use it in R5. It's a defense monster. Maybe in Siege Arena, I would be questioning that a bit more. RTA, obviously, she's very good. I'm gonna put her in useful most places, but near the bottom. I don't think she's better than Lima. Okay, next up is Asima. I'm gonna say that this is also useful most places. She is definitely a great defense monster. Offense, also great for offense, actually. She probably enables a lot of, like, debuffs things. She can solo teams on her own. In fact, I might even put her above these two. She doesn't stand out in a lot of locations, but she is good in pretty much everything, except for, I would say, PvE. Next up is Cracker. Cracker, for me, I think is pretty plainly up here, in the middle. She is very annoying in RTA. She's probably very annoying on defense. But if she doesn't get to spare stuns or violent procs or anything like that, she's not going to be that useful. Very RNG dependent. So not a standout unit, but it is very decent at what it does. Alright, next up is Jaeger. I think that maybe this unit is completely outclassed at the moment. I would probably just use a Fire Monkey or anything else that's immune to debuffs and that revenges. There's so many units that just do its job better. So, like, this unit kind of has nothing at the moment. I would definitely say this is the first unit to go at the absolute bottom. Light Monkey, this is pretty easy for me. I would put him up here. Sort of does the same thing as Asima. They're both just crazy CC units. They're useful in a lot of places. Obviously not PvE, but all PvP things, they're both great. Next up is Ragdoll. Ragdoll, again, like these two, is good in pretty much all PvP. I would put him pretty much near the top, maybe even above Han, just because not only is he usable in pretty much all PvP, he's also very specifically good in RTA. In fact, actually, I'd probably drop him down because he probably sees a bit less use in Siege. But he's definitely up there for sure. Dark Monkey. This one is tough. I would say it's probably usable but inefficient. High base speed units with a strip. There's probably a lot, like Ethno is better than this. There's other like fast units that just do a better job and do something more useful than a strip into a defense break, or if they don't have immunity, you can have an 80% chance to stun and defense break, whatever that. It should be 100, but, you know, let's just move on from that. Yeah, it's probably better to use other units in its spot. Shazam next. I'm going to put it down here, but very low, just because AoE counter is just kind of a cool concept that can get annoying for Siege, but he's just not useful in pretty much anything else. Then we've got Rahul. This unit is terrible. It's a terrible stripper. It doesn't do anything. I would not pick this over pretty much any other stripper. Alright, next up we got Yunhong. I would say she's in the niche but very good tier, but at the pretty much very top, maybe just a bit less than Laura. Very good in RTA, almost even maybe a top 10 unit in RTA. Ridiculously good, has been good for a long time. Could probably use it in offense and defense to some success, but because of its standout in RTA, I think it deserves to be up here. Alright, next up is Wolyung. This is interesting. I think she's up here just because she's useful in so many things. Could maybe use her in PvE for R5, but she's definitely amazing for Arena. It's usable in RTA. It's good for Arena offense. I would say it's up here because it's just good in so many parts of the game, but definitely maybe slightly better than Nikki, just because it's more versatile. Next up is Nigong. It's pretty much just a defense unit. It's quite good at that, so I'll give it that, but doesn't have a lot of other things going for it. I'll put it at the top of the very niche tier. Alright, next up is this guy, who I can't remember his name right now. This is tough, because I feel like this guy's kind of fallen off. AoE strip with such high base speed, I'll give him that. So I would say he's very niche, but he's specifically very good at that. He does have the attack bar increase, which is kind of good, but actually, you know what? Because of Laura now, he's probably down here. He's kind of just a worse Laura. Now that I think about it. Yeah. He's pretty much a worse Laura. I don't want to include the free-to-play ones. I'm just going to be doing the pay-to-win ones. Or maybe not pay-to-win. Maybe you just got really lucky. But you know what I mean. Next up is Eleanor. The second unit on this list that I have. I'm tempted to put her in useful most places. Because you could just use her in a whole lot of things. She's really good for TOA. Actually, you know what? I'm starting to think that that's not really that useful. You know what? I'd put her here. Maybe above Gianna. She's very good at RTA, and she's very good. Probably if you use a specific offense in Siege, you could use her, and she's good for TOA. Outside of that, I wouldn't say actually she deserves to be up here with these units. Next up is Lydia. I would say that there's probably not... actually, she's here, but she's down at the bottom. I mean, she does decent damage. She's got the reflect. Actually, you know what? She's down here because you should pretty much be using any other bruiser. And honestly, the Dark Pony is better. Next up is Pontos. Yeah, I think that might be another unit that's just up here. The cleanse with the invincibility is just really good. It's usable in a lot of places. You could use it in PvE in R5, probably nowhere else apart from that. You could use it in defense, you could use it for offense. Yeah, and it's got the silence as well. Yeah, this is a great unit. Pretty much, and the speed lead as well. Don't forget the speed lead. I think it's a better Lima. I don't even know if that's true, but okay, I feel like maybe Lima needs to go up a bit. I think I underestimated her value a bit, so she can go there. But I think the speed lead is what pushes this guy over the edge. All right, next up is the Banana Man, because I cannot be bothered saying his name. I think that this just completely outclassed. It's a damage dealer, but it's just eh. It's just very meh. All right, next up is the Dark Neostone Agent, and I think she's just up here with Nigong. They're just siege defense units, and they're very good at that. Next up is the Bay. I'm tempted to put him in very niche, but at the bottom. AoE Brand does good damage. I think he'd be good in Siege, just not as good as these two units. Alright, next up is Wedgeat. Wedgeat is great in RTA. Outside of that, it's very hard to rate him. I mean, I wouldn't use him really anywhere else, actually. I mean, maybe in Siege offense and Arena defense. Yeah, you know what? I'll put him up here. He's very good at his specific job. Alright, Isis. Isis has got a niche role in RTA. I would put it maybe in this tier here. It's also really great. It's the TOA. She's the TOA queen. So I'm going to put her here. Below Eludia. Next up is Nephthys. This is the eat sheet. Okay, in my opinion, this is the best LD5 in the game. It's good everywhere. It's literally good in every part of the game. My mind can't be changed on that. She may not be the best at anything in particular. I mean, she's the best defense breaker. But she's literally useful and at least good in every part of the game. And I think that that's just ridiculous. And it's got a speed lead. So this unit is number one. All right, next up, we've got Oberon. It's good in RTA. You could use it in a snipe comp for Siege. It's got a cool reset second skill as well. I'm thinking of putting it in the middle tier, but at the very top. No, maybe below, maybe above the Dark Dragon. Next up is Nyx. I'm tempted to put this just in very niche. It's got a cool sort of idea that other units don't do, but it's just not very strong. So it's gonna go down here. Next up, okay, this is pretty clear to me. It's good in, yeah, pretty much all PvP. Yeah, this unit goes to the top of useful most places. Yeah, it's not good in PvE. You might not have that great success in like Arena and Siege. But on defense, I'm sure this will be annoying. I'm sure this insta-beats a lot of offenses. And obviously RTA, this unit is a monster, so we can just put that up there. Alright, next up is Dark Panda. I want to say it's niche and very usable. As a damage dealer, it's as a single target damage dealer with a defense break, it's sort of hard for this unit to be bad. It's just sort of above average, I'd say. Alright, then we've got the Celia. This unit for me is completely outclassed. Smicer is pretty much better. Any units that have got CC on their passive, it's just a better version of this. Yeah, unfortunately this unit was nerfed from being good and now it's just terrible. Same thing with this unit, the Light Pony. It's just, you would use pretty much any other cleanser in its spot. It's pretty terrible. Viva Shell. I'm gonna put this up here. It's specifically good in a lot of PvP content in specific teams, so that's why I don't want to put it up here, but it does have a pretty good role in those specific teams. Next up is the Dark Pony. I think this is a very underrated unit. I would say it's very niche. It's decent at what it does. It's very rare that you get to pick this unit, and it has an impact. I'm going to put it here. Next up is this unit. I'm thinking it's niche, but it is quite good at what it does, if you can pick it right. She's sort of the same as Artemil to me, so I'm going to put them both together. I do think Artemil's a little bit better, though. Alright, Light Druid. I would say that this deserves to be up here with the RTA units. It's probably alright in defense as well, so good in a couple places, but mainly just RTA, and it's very good at that specific role. Alright, then we've got the Dark version. I would say that this unit's pretty good. It's got, you know, if you get the strip or the stuns, it can push itself up. That's pretty unique. Not usable in a crazy ton of situations, but in the situations that he's pretty alright, so I put him down here. This unit, same thing, just a siege defense unit. I'll put it with the other siege defense units. Same with this guy, he's good for specifically for dungeons, but outside of that, that's pretty much it. Next up is Bella. I'd say she goes here. She's good in RTA and she's good in probably siege defense. Outside of that, she probably goes at the bottom here, maybe above Isis. Light Demon. I think that Light Demon goes above a tier from the Dark Lightning Emperor just because it's also good in PvP. As well as PvE, so it's got multiple uses. I'm going to put it up here. Dark Demon probably goes with this thing. It's good in RTA, but it's not really as spammable as some of these units up here. Outside of that, I don't really see this unit seeing a lot of usage. Next up, we got the Light Beast Rider. I think this unit is very strong. I would put it here, probably next to Shan. Very good in RTA. Can be used in siege offense and in siege defense too. This thing is very scary. Actually, you know what? This unit actually might be up here. Now that I think about it, she's useful pretty much everywhere. Yeah, this unit deserves to be at the top. Okay, Dark Beast Rider. Seems like a defense unit to me. Could use it in RTA. It's pretty niche. You're only picking it in a few situations, but I'd rather be using other pushback units. It does have the silence now, which is kind of cool. Nah, I'm going to put it down here. It's just, there's other units that are better than it pretty much in a lot of different ways. Okay, then we've got the Light Art Master. I would say he's usable, but he's sort of inefficient. He's pretty much at the very bottom here. Yeah, I think here is a good spot for him. Next up is this guy. I'm just going to put him up here. He's got a niche role that not a lot of other units have, and that's the threat state. But it's not good in a whole lot of situations. It's good if you want to maybe draw away a turn one, maybe like an Ethna or something. So that's an RTA, and that's pretty much its only thing. It doesn't have use pretty much anywhere else. This unit, out of all those LD5s that do a lot of big damage, he's sort of, I'd say he's up here, next to the Dark Dragon. Both these are very good arena offense units, so that's where I'm going to leave them. Then we've got the Dark Striker, another unit that I have. I'm tempted to put him down here, but I think the 2-turn stun, I think he deserves to be very niche. He can sort of be used in Siege. It's just that his use is very specific, so I'll put him up here. Okay, next is Craig, another unit I have. I think that this unit goes up here. It's good in offenses, not really as much in RTA. Let's just put it with these guys, but he's a bit worse than them because his base speed is really holding him back. Gurkha, I'm going to put him at the top of very niche because he's very strong at countering specific things. But if they don't pick those things, or it's not like a defense with those things, he's not going to do anything. Alright, next up is Seimei. Seimei for me is going to go right at the top here. No other unit really does what it does. I mean, Wedget sort of does it, but she does it better. She may be a passive totem, but she is really good at that one thing that she does. Next up is Doman. She's very good in RTA, and she's pretty much a free siege win. Outside of that, not very useful. I'm going to put her up here right next to her sister. Alright, next up is Dorothy. Yeah, this unit is down here. Completely outclassed. There's no point using this unit. Just use any other damage dealer. It'll be better. Alright, Ongyuki. I would say this unit deserves to be up here as well. Very similar to Nikki. Good in pretty much all PvP. Maybe not as much in PvE. But it's usable in a lot of places because it's a damage dealer that can't be CC'd. That's a pretty useful thing that you are going to need in a lot of aspects of the game. This unit, I think, goes to the top here. Very good on defense. Also kind of alright in RTA, but it is extremely good on siege defense, arena defense, so it deserves to be up here. Next up is this unit. I used to have put it down here, but I'm starting to think that it's a good damage dealer if you're picking, CC units and pushback. You could use it, maybe just slightly better than this unit here. Jackson, again, specifically in RTA, no other unit does what this thing does, so I think he just deserves to be up here for that. Alright, this unit is... It's okay, it's usable, but you could be using other units that, reset cooltime a bit better, like a frigate's pretty much this unit. You could use the Wind Dragon, there are other units that do this thing's job, but just better. Same with this unit. I mean, it's got ignore defense every turn, but why wouldn't you just use Miles? In fact, no, this unit goes down here. It's got nothing. Alright, next up is Maximilian. I think actually Maximilian deserves to be up here. Good in almost everything. It's speed lead with a defense break. It's sort of like Neptus, but a bit worse, so I think that deserves to be up here. This unit, ignore defense AoE is pretty cool. I'm gonna put it up here. It can be used in niche situations in PvP. It's not really that helpful a lot of the time. Okay, Dark Totemist. It's usable, but I feel like you could be using other provoke units that are just stronger. You're sort of wasting your time. You'd be using it just because it's a trophy, honestly, so let's put it over here. Dark Shadowcaster. I'm going to put it down here, sort of with Nyx. It has a very unique skill. It's just that skill it's not really useful all of the time. Okay, this unit goes right up to the top here. Very good in RTA. Probably alright in arena and siege defense, but a standout in RTA. And even if it's not great everywhere else, it's going to be niche, but very good. This unit, I'm going to put it here. Of course, it's got that deleting capability. It's more of a fun unit, not really useful, but you could use it in siege just to snipe something. You could find a use for it in RTA. Of course, Oblivion's a very rare skill, so I'm going to put that there. This unit, I'm going to put it sort of here. It's just another bruiser. Just a defense-based bruiser. I feel like you could use a lot of units in its place. So you could use it, it's just there's better units out there. Alright, the Dark one, on the other hand, is very good. I'm thinking of putting it around here, so it's great for RTA, just probably not as good as these other units here. Maybe better than a Chroma. Alright, the Light Pudding Princess. It's okay, but you could be using other reset units that are just kind of stronger. And, I mean, just granting immunity on that ally, it's not really that special. I'm sure it's usable, but it's just, you've probably got better options in your box that aren't LD5, so you can just use those instead. Dark Pudding Princess, I think she is very similar to Wunsa. They both just sort of do strips. This thing, it's got the benefit of not hitting the opponent, so you don't have to worry about revenges, but its base speed is probably what holds it back. So it's niche, but it's not insanely good, so it goes down here. With that justification, I think I'm going to move a Chroma down. just because I don't think it's on the level of these units up here. This unit, for me, it's usable. It's just other units are better. It's just an attack buffer. Very boring unit, honestly. There's other units that do its job better. This one, it has a specific use against CC and RTA, but that is a very specific scenario, so I can't really place this any higher than that. Next up are the Devil Maiden. So I'm gonna actually have to read into their skills because I get the two of them mixed up. So this unit, everyone was saying it was OP when it first came out. Obviously, we don't see it a lot anymore. I still think it's pretty good though. So I'm gonna put it right here next to Isis. I think just because we don't see enough of it, it's sort of proving that maybe it's not that crazy of a unit. Immune to Oblivion's really cool. So I guess it's sort of at the Bella tier where it's pretty good in RTA, but we don't really see it a whole lot. I might move Bella up a little bit more, just because I feel like it's a little bit better than these units. Alright, next up is the Dark one. This is the one that summons the thing to fight for it, right? Yeah, this unit doesn't really seem useful to me. I feel like you could use it on offense to support like a frail damage dealer or something that you don't want it to get CC'd. It's just down here. I don't think it's completely outclassed because there's not really any other unit like it. It's just very, very meh. Okay, the light Indra. We don't see a lot of it. I think it's probably underrated. The stuns and defense breaks, that's a very strong combination. It's pretty much like the Dark Monkey, but better. Because it has access to it a lot more. So I'm going to put it up here for RTA in particular. Next up is the Dark one. I actually think that this goes along with it. These two units are both very good. Specifically, this thing is very annoying against CC teams. I know because it gets picked against me a lot. So if this thing starts doing, it actually gets its provokes off, it can just win you the game. So it's very good at a specific job. It's just that that specific job is very rare. Alright, next up is Dark Evor. It has a pretty unique job. It's just that I could see it maybe used on defense. Outside of that, it's not great. Another fun unit, so let's put it with Destiny. Light Evor, on the other hand, I think deserves to be up here. Very, very good in RTA. Maybe not as good as these units. I'm going to actually move Gianna down. But very good in RTA. Having defense breaks, strips, stuns, and immune to CC and constantly gaining attack bar, it's just a great combo. This unit is dog shit. It does nothing. It deserves to be down here at the bottom. And next up is Cassandra. It's a better Kali. It's a better Kali, so for that I can put it up here. If you have this, you can use this instead of Kali, but that's not really that useful. In fact, I'm going to bring it down. It's just Kali, but with a speed lead, so let's just put it around. Yeah. I mean, I forgot the Light Ezio. Let's just use this as the Light Ezio. I'm gonna put it, I don't want to say it's with Oberon because Oberon sort of has more going for it. So I'm just gonna put it at the top here. So this El Sharion, just think that that's Light Ezio. He has a cool, actually, yeah, with these guys here. He's a fun unit, he just snipes something, doesn't have a lot of use outside of that, but it is a cool niche role that you could use. Yeah, so that's all of them. Well, yeah, we were gonna go over the Dark Bayek skills. I mean, seriously, what is this unit? Like, okay. A random enemy, that's red flag number 1, okay? And you get a 20% attack bar if the target is stunned. That's, like, nothing. That's not useful. So a strip and a stun, I mean, that's okay. There's a lot of anti-CC at the moment, and a single stun is not going to be helpful against that. Strip and silence, I mean, that's okay. I would like some more pushback here, though. Then it would be sort of useful. Because what is screaming to me here is that Rukuni destroys this guy. Like, where are you going to use this unit? I just don't like Rukuni. It's such a small amount of debuffs that Rukuni is just going to destroy this thing. I think they want it to be a siege unit, but it needs to have more impact. This is not enough. If you have this unit, I'm very sorry. I think it's very clearly the worst LD5 in the game right now. But yeah, all right. So we're all done here. I will maybe make a community post about this a couple days down the line, as to not spoil it. But if you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.